Thank you very much. And then the last speaker tonight, and then we'll have a question and answer period, is Robin Hiller. And this was a choice. It's not a proposition. This was a choice that the Arizona ground game made. We wanted people to hear a little bit, and she's going to be more like speed dating than everybody else, about the Arizona Supreme Court Justice Clint Bolick. So here's Robin.
Okay, to speed date, I have to sit down and kind of read through this. So I'm here to urge you to vote no on Judge Clint Bolick, who is appointed by Governor Ducey. This is not a partisan thing. I've worked in reforming education for the past 20 years, and so I've known of Clint Bolick, but mainly in his educational views. And I wanted to share some of his other views with you also. So first of all, you should know that he's a judge who has advocated for judicial activism. He believes in activist judges. And now I want to tell you what some of his views are. Do we really want a judge that was the president of the largest voucher advocacy organization in the United States? Bolick has argued for privatization, argued in favor of for-profit charters, and argued for vouchers in Ohio, Maryland, Oklahoma, California, and the United States Supreme Court. He's argued in court in favor of dark money. Clint Bolick has argued against clean elections, saying it's an infringement on the politicians who are not running clean. He has fought for charter schools keeping their books secret and not having to follow the same financial and transparency guidelines of regular public schools. He was also, and this was way back, was part of a team working to get Clarence Thomas seated. The team backing Thomas, including Clint Bolick, also worked to defame Anita Hill and other women who had worked with Thomas to discredit their accusations of sexual harassment, and it worked. Do we want a Supreme Court justice whose prior 4 jobs before being appointed to the Arizona State Supreme Court were bankrolled by the Koch brothers? Mountain State's legal foundation, which advocates for limited government, underwritten by the Kochs. What they mean by limited government is no services and no regulations. No regulations for businesses, no services for humans. The Institute for Justice, which describes itself as a libertarian public interest law firm, which sues over issues like school choice, privatization. The Alliance for School Choice, which is voucher, voucher, voucher. It's all about, it's the forefront of using tax dollars for private and parochial schools. Then the Goldwater Institute, who threatened to sue every superintendent in the state if they did not order their teachers to quit striking and get back in the classroom. As I mentioned, he also is in favor of judicial activism, and we should not retain this judge. So the first vouchers in our country were a direct result of Brown versus the Board of Education. In 1954, the Supreme Court case, this was the Supreme Court case in which the justices ruled unanimously that racial segregation of children in public schools was unconstitutional. At that time, this is the first time we ever see vouchers. Some southern states decided to issue state-subsidized education vouchers so that they could send white children to all-white schools. Clint Bolick was the first president of the Alliance for School Choice. That's the largest voucher group I mentioned a few minutes ago. It was launched on May 17th, 2004. May 17th, 2004 was the 50th anniversary of Brown versus the Board of Education. This was not a coincidence. This was, and this is the word I learned in this last year and a half, a dog whistle. It's something that wouldn't be known to a lot of us, but this is what this is about, and this is who this judge is about. So fast forward to this summer. Invest in Ed and Outlaw Dirty Money propositions were taken off the ballot by the Arizona Supreme Court. Activist judge, perhaps? In addition to all these reasons to vote no on Clint Bolick, there's also this. Governor Doug Ducey's gubernatorial and treasurer campaigns were both underwritten by the Koch brothers. That is one branch of government. A number of our legislators are underwritten by the Koch brothers and by Betsy DeVos. That's the second branch of government. Voting no on Bolick is the opportunity for us, we the people, to keep the courts independent and free of Koch influence.
Can you spell his name, please? It's on the paper. Oh, it is?
It's B-O-L-I-C-K.
Okay.
But when you put it in your computer, it comes up as Bluck every time. But it's really B-O-L-I-C-K.
Were there any recommendations on Flander?
He's the other one that's...
The other justice.
Right. So what we've heard about him is that we are, and this is from lawyers who have worked in education reform for the past 20 years, is they are not sure how he voted. They are very confident in how Bolick voted, but not the other guy. And he was a very strong proponent, 1070, Senate Bill 1070. And so people think he might be more liberal. But Clint Bolick is on a fast track to the Supreme Court, and we can stop him.